Welcome to the GameChanger 00100 show. I'm your host, GameChanger. All right, so Femcels. I came across an article. Actually, a RL friend sent me an article. It was just about Femcels and things like that, what they go through, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But what made this one interesting was that it mentioned the pink pill. And it had me thinking, I wonder if those pink pill divesting, swirling, et cetera, chicks, and we'll get into the article, of course, in a moment. I wonder if they are really femcels. Now, hold on one moment. Hold on, let's see. All right, never mind. I was looking for the text message that he sent, and something else came up. So greatly appreciate it. Salute Bernard. Salute Too Cool for School. Appreciate you both. All right. So, and everybody, of course, that's listening silently. All right, here we go. All right. Don't seem like I can find that video. Let's see. All right. Anyway, here we go. It's entitled "What Do Female Incels Really Want?" Now, before we go too deep into this rabbit hole, I want to explain to y'all what a female incel is. Now, contrary to what the title implies, it is not. It is not simply the female version of a male incel, because a male incel is someone who can't have sex. And I think, thank you for becoming a channel member. I think that they really are saying someone who can't have sex with a woman without paying for it. So I'm guessing that there's a caveat to where a man who isn't having sex, but he could at any time, probably wouldn't fall under that category because it's voluntary. Also, a man who is unwilling to have sex with the least appealing woman who is willing to sleep with him. Like if Rasputia was the only woman in the world to sleep with Norbit, would he be an incel if he turned her down type deal? So it's a complicated definition for men. It gets more complicated when you try to put that stigma on women, because women aren't necessarily in pursuit of sex the way men are. It's vastly different. And also because men have significantly lower sexual standards than women. And when I say significantly lower, I'm talking about like ridiculously lower. The level a man would stoop to just to get some versus a woman pales in comparison. So a woman could always, if she's willing to stoop a couple of levels, if she's a 5, she could always, there's always a 3 willing to hit it. And really there's a 7 that's willing to hit it. So it's not, we can't really use the definition. So came up with my own definition of what a femcel is. A femcel, to me, a female incel, would be a woman who cannot have sex with the top 10% of men, and she cannot establish a relationship with an average man. I'm going to repeat that. A woman who both cannot have sex with the top 10% of men as far as the desirability range goes. And she can also not sustain, not get into, not secure a relationship with the middle tier men. If you are a woman and you fall into that particular category, then you, dear, are a femcel. Is what it is. That's where you lie. You're a female incel. And I think that those numbers are really just about as rare as a man who can't have sex, who can't have free sex with any woman out there. Like there's no woman that he's found in his circle that he has access to that is willing to do it just because, no matter how low he lowers the bar. So I think those numbers are about the same. So we're going to go with that definition. Now, what I'm about to share with you is an article of a woman who classifies herself as a female incel. However, and she does meet, as far as I know, she does meet the new definition that I just came to that I just gave to that, because I'm pretty sure that the person who's the author of this article can get some, at any point from most guys, especially black men. We have no damn standards whatsoever because we are taught that we don't deserve to have them. So I have it on my phone. I'm just typing it in so I can, the Atlantic. All right. So I can have it on my computer so I can read it better. All right, no need to say fair use or anything. Title of the article, I'll put the description out there. What do female incels really want? Thank you for becoming a channel member, Deacon Knacker. All right, appreciate you. All right, so online groups of women have started using the rhetoric of the incel movement, but to what end? By Caitlin Tiffany. Okay, so this is written by a woman's point of view. We were all ugly. Now, stop right there. Stop right there. I want you to actually, let me share the screen on this. Why not? Okay. I want y'all to pay attention to that particular word. We were all ugly. Notice the past tense there. You see, here's the thing about women. Women past 22, and I'm not just saying that because that's her age. Women past 22 aren't ugly. I repeat, women past 22 aren't ugly, at least in their own perception. I should say primarily in their own perception, because of course I've talked about many women who are ugly past 22. But here's what I mean by that. In high school and even in college, there are a high concentration of women. There's a high concentration of women who are at the same age range, peak metabolism, and many of them fall in different areas of the social hierarchy that is limited to that particular college and high school. And men, top tier men, the top 10% that I was talking about, they tend to not mess with the women who are outside of their own top 10%, only because they are primarily, I should say, because they don't have to with such a high concentration of women between, the ages of, like 14, 15 to 22. And when I'm talking about 14, 15, I'm talking about the men being that age too. They really don't have to because society has grouped them together all in one bucket and said, get down with the top 10%. So they really don't have to lower their bar that much. And for a young lady who's 17, her mating pool consists of all the boys between the ages of, between junior year of high school and senior year of high school, or I should say freshman year of high school and senior year of high school. That is your only choices. And even the 18-year-old seniors is probably going to step away from you if you live in a state where the age of consent is 18. I know that when I was 18, I stepped away from the 17-year-olds, even though I graduated high school at 17. So is what it is. You deal with that. Very slim pickings because women tend to go for older guys. And if you're 17, you really can't go for older guys. At all. Because they're not going to go for you for obvious reasons. Shout out to R. Kelly, 30 years. Yep. So, yeah, you have that problem. And the guys, however, if he's 17 and, you might have your eye on him and he's the top 10%, he has not only access to all of the 17-year-olds, he also have access to the 16 and 15-year-olds as well. So, it's not, his range is a lot broader. So it is more common for a woman to not have access to the top 10% at that age. And then you have the 18 to 22, where colleges is highly competitive. You have more women, more parties, more interaction, and more competition, to where an average woman is probably going to have trouble securing that top 10% even if it's sexually. Because for one, she has to protect her reputation. And for two, and this is more importantly, I hit the like button, he has to protect his reputation. You see, this is what a lot of people don't know. A lot of guys don't know this. And this isn't me trying to kick game to guys or anything like that. You do yourself a disservice by sleeping. You do yourself a disservice once an attractive woman found out that you had slept with a woman who's less attractive. You make yourself less appealing to the more attractive women by sleeping with the less attractive women. Now, it really doesn't, the stuff like that really don't matter when, you're not confined to one huge social circle, meaning your reputation don't really get out there if you, sleep with a guy who's, or if a guy was to sleep, if a guy who's an 8 or a 9, he sleeps with a 5 or something like that, he can really keep that secret because there isn't a group of people. Like the whole thing just dilutes in the city. You're a complete stranger. You're not bound by anything. You're not going to wind up in a class with that person next semester. She's not going to tell her friends, and it eventually gets back to you in a city of hundreds of thousands of people. That's not going to happen. So yeah, college is a small community, so both people have to protect their reputation. And a guy who's an 8 who sleeps with a 5 is going to have a little bit of difficulty pulling that 9 after word gets out. So it is easy for women in that age range, even if she's average at best, because average at best, she would not meet the femcel criteria in the sense that she can have sex with guys who are in the top 10%, I'm sure. And she can also get into a relationship with someone who is middle range. It's just that she's not really interested in middle range guys. So yeah, there's that. So my bad. She said that we were all ugly, meaning that in the past we are ugly, but once I graduated college and my mating pool became any guy who's from 18 to 80 who's horny, then you feel less ugly at that point. Amanda, a 22-year-old student from Florida, told me, recalling the online community she found when she was 18, men didn't like us. Guys didn't want to be with us, and it was fine to acknowledge it. Okay. This has the pink pill written all over it. This has christelyn karazin written all over it. christelyn karazin likes to present to young Black girls, like this one was at the age of 18, that Black men in particular don't want you, which is why you need to go where you're celebrated. Now, coming out of the situation that I just described, especially if you went to a HBCU, I can get why a young lady thinks that. She's 22, so she's actually still in that awkward situation. She's probably good. She's probably good if she was like out in the world. Out in the world, she would get noticed. However, in a confined area with a high concentration of attractive women, you will not get noticed. And this isn't a Black thing. This is a everywhere thing. Average girls have trouble standing out in college because you are there with a bunch of exceptional women. Is what it is. And it doesn't mean that that they don't like you, because they like the exceptional women, don't they? And it's not just about looks. There's certain things that determines a woman's place in the hierarchy. In addition to that, like if she's in a sorority, if she's active, her social circle, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If she's a cheerleader, if she can dance, like you're going to be less noticed if you stand in the corner at the dance floor, right? Just there's a lot of things that go into factor. I have known wallflowers in high school and in college who just turned out like later in adulthood to be, drop dead gorgeous. In fact, there's one. Of course, I'm not going to say her name. There's one. I shouldn't even say she was a wallflower or anything like that. It's just that this was junior high. It's just that she outranked me ridiculously as far as everything goes. And me being a nerd, I just assumed that there was girls that I just generally didn't have access to. So, she was 8th grade cute, or 8th grade fine, whatever you want to call it. We went to different high schools, and then I would see her again. I would see her at a concert here, or, I'm out with somebody there, this is in Oakland. And I would see her from time to time, and, she filled out, puberty did her well. Not to say she was cute in junior high, but puberty did her well. And every time I seen her, I would want to shoot my shot, but I was either with another chick or she was with her girls and I'm with my dudes or something like that. Like, it was always like the wrong opportunity. But like with her, the change was just dramatic, So if in high school and in college, she had one of those personality types that was introverted, and she got out thinking that guys hated her, it wasn't that. It most certainly wasn't her looks. It's just that you don't have a college personality. Let's put it like that. But you get somebody like christelyn karazin, who went through the situation that I described, with her first daughter and everything like that. She went through the situation that I described. She's telling these young ladies that, oh, they hate us, which sometimes become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Anyway, this Reddit forum was called r/true Femcels, and she commented. Let's see. She commented there under the username "strange and ugly girl." Now, I'm not going to defend this Amanda chick. She might just very well be ugly. She might be ugly by every standard. In fact, she probably is. Who knows? Let's see. Amanda didn't post very often, but she checked in every day on the community for a self-identified femcel or involuntary celibate woman. Listen, there isn't a woman out there, and I know because I've seen, Tawana Burke is married. Okay, there isn't a woman out there that can't give it up. And there isn't a man out there, especially in Florida, that's not willing to take it. Okay, there's a black man in Florida that'll do just about anybody. So stop with this whole, you are involuntarily celibate. That's ridiculous. All right, so it says, let's see. I agreed to refer to her by her first name only to separate her from current life, from her former internet identity. Okay, fair enough. Let's see. They came to complain about the superficiality of men. Oh my God. She just said the superficiality of men. There is somebody out there that you are not fucking. Okay? Right now, there is somebody that wants to fuck you that you don't want to fuck. Okay? Stop the bullshit. See, it's only superficial when a 5 wants to fuck a 7. When a female 5 wants to fuck a male 7, it's superficial. However, if a male 3 wants to fuck a female 5, he wants to go up 2 points. Then, and you shoot him down, you're not superficial. Get the fuck out of here. All right. Anyway, let's see. And the privilege of pretty women. Ever notice how pretty women don't complain about pretty privilege? And to share their experiences moving through the world in an unattractive body. If it's your body that's unattractive, dear, then make it attractive. You can buy an attractive body at a place called the gym. Okay. Which therefore disadvantages them romantically, socially, and economically. Wow. Okay, she said economically, and I thought that she was looking to hustle dudes for money, but now I'm thinking that unattractive women get paid less. Unattractive women get paid less. Unattractive women get paid less in most every single thing they do. I'm not talking about like a little bit less. No. I'm not talking about she gets, the attractive woman gets $22 an hour and you get $21.50. She get that 50 cents for being pretty. Nope. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the difference in pay is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Take a waitress, for example, right? I want you guys to go to your local Denny's. Go to your local Denny's restaurant. And then I want you to take a look at the waitress. Take a long, hard look at the waitress. Then I want you to go to a place near you where the steaks cost $150 plus for 6 ounces. Actually, for any amount, but I don't want y'all to go to one of those cattleman steak ranches and stuff where they kill the cow in front of you, and you get like this whole, this whole slab of half a cow on your plate. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about where it costs for a 6 ounce steak $150 plus. I want you to go there. And I want you to see the difference in beauty of the waitresses. That difference is their pay. You see, people tip they don't tip based on the quality of service per se. I mean, they do, but it's always the primary determining factor of how much a person tip is how much the meal costs. It's typically supposed to be like twice the tax if for regular run-of-the-mill service, maybe a good 20% if they're really good or something like that. But it really doesn't matter if the whole meal costs $20. The meal costs $20. They get tipped $20, or excuse me, they get tipped $4 at most. That is a handsome tip. However, at the where the steak costs $180. Been to one of those restaurants once. Actually, no, Ike took me to one, but I'm talking about like I went there on my own or with a friend there once, and I walked out because it was too damn expensive. But anyway, those places, since people tip according to what they how much the meal costs, those tips, let's just say they spent $300. They get $60. You get $4 because you look like a Denny's waitress, and she gets $60 to your $4. That's more than 10 times what you get. Over and over again. Tip after tip after tip after tip. Your base pay is probably somewhere between, maybe like $10 and $15 an hour. So really, like one of her tables can beat out your whole day of base pay. This is the true pretty privilege. If women understood this, they would not spend a day of their life ugly. You trust me, if I was a woman, I would not spend a freaking day, a freaking second of ugly. Period. Period. Just knowing how different in quality of life that is. Is ugly a choice for women? Yes. Yes, it is. Especially in modern times. All right. So where was I? Pretty women, let's see, in a body, which therefore disadvantages them social and economic. Okay, it says they were finding that the modern dating landscape, the image-based apps, let's see, the commodified dating market, the illusionary freedom to be found in hookup culture, to be unnavigable, however you pronounce that. Okay. And they talked about, let's see, taking a pink pill. Hold on. Taking a pink pill. And this is why I put that in the title. Is the pink pill just a bunch of self-confessed ugly ass bitches that can't give away pussy? That complains about how prettier women, not white women, not Latin women, because it's really supposed to be about a race thing. Go where you're celebrated and not denigrated and tolerated, but nobody celebrates you more than black men. That's something that christelyn and karazin won't share with the rest of the audience, because we have the lowest standards. Even if you ugly, you have better chances at getting with a black man than a non-black man. That is the unfortunate truth of the matter. So she says she's talking about taking the pink pill. The pink pill is what you take. Just like skinny kids eat spinach, is what you take. Bodybuilders take whey protein. It's what you take. The pink pill is what you take when you're ugly and awkward. And this is proof of that. And she didn't just say she, and they. And they. So basically, a coalition of miserable bitches got together and said, let's take the pink pill. And opening their eyes to the reality that society was misogynistic. Didn't want to do that. Okay. Was misogynistic and looksist. Ever since the word racist was invented, people are just putting the word ist at the stuff that they get pissed off about, hoping to shame people about not doing the thing that they want to do. Calling you an ist of any type. You're a colorist. You're a racist. You're a misogynist. And now you're a looksist. Every attractive woman that don't want to fuck me is a looksist. How about that? You see me here complaining? You see me taking a pink pill off of that crap? No, I understand that she has a right to her physical criteria just like I do. They could be funny. In 2019, a commenter repeated a pretty friend's suggestion that nobody really needs to wear makeup, adding 5 heart eye emojis and a link to the joke subreddit. Okay. Let's see. They could be kind of mean, like male incels. They mock lucky, beautiful women whom they call Stacy's. Okay. This is getting worse and worse and worse. This is getting worse and worse and worse for the female or the pink pill taker. Christelyn, karazin, these are your people. Divestors, these are your people. Swirlers, these are your people. A bunch of ugly chicks who are mad at Stacy's. And Stacy, these are not your friend. I repeat, these are not your friends. See, what they try to do is every now and again, Stacy will get upset because her boyfriend, who just so happens to be black, blah, 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 blah. There's jerks in every races. So she's distraught. She's upset. She's in turmoil and she's looking for guidance. And then they say, they say, "Oh, we'll give you guidance. We'll give you structure. We'll be your friend. You're one of us now. Pretty women, you are never one of them." I repeat, pretty women, you are never one of them. Birds of a feather flock together for a reason. There is a reason for that. You are in a whole different tribe. I want to show y'all something. Oh, if I could find it. I hope I could get a good picture of it. Nope. Nope, can't find it. All right, so too bad. It was really good. All right. Where was I? Ugly women aren't your friend, pretty women. They never will be. And I'm not talking about the ones that are your cousins or something like that. They are not your friend. You are Stacy to them. They hate you. They feel that you have a privilege and they somehow feel that you took it from them. I was the kind of girl in school where it was like people would say, "Oh, he likes, oh, he has a crush on you," to make fun of the guy. I know those types. Those types, once again, still weren't necessarily ugly. They just weren't in the top tier social circle. So, yeah, there's that. And some of them simply were ugly. Once again, by junior high standards. She was anxious and unhappy, but she didn't want to talk about any of it with her friends. Okay. When she first heard the term femcel, it offered some clarity. In a very literal way, I was involuntarily celibate and female. You are not involuntary. Listen, no matter how much of the stuff I say, and the fact that you are ugly, you can still suck a penis at any given time. It even in your state of ugliness, it is likely that if you was to put the words DTF in your Tinder profile, you would get more hits than a handsome man. I'm trying to think of somebody who's considered handsome but not famous. Nobody's coming to mind, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Y'all know the jawline niggas. You would get more hits than the jawline dudes. So let's not pretend. And let's see. So I was like, okay, that applies. It doesn't apply. You just applied to the different definition that I just gave, but the one that you just gave, you're not involuntarily celibate. Online, she found thousands of other women who were trying to figure out how to live with the kind of romantic love that our society has deemed a pillar, maybe the pillar of happiness. Okay. Once again, I think that your standards are much too high. See, here's another aspect of it. Here's another way to look at it. A female incel and a male incel cannot exist in the same community. And I'm not talking about my modified definition of female incel. I'm talking about my by her definition. They can't exist in the same body, meaning that a man who can't find pussy runs into a woman who can't find dick. These two things are going to collide without colliding. Once these two things collide, once you get a female incel and a male incel together, and one of two things are going to happen. Actually, one of three things. Thing number one, they have sex, making them no longer an incel. Thing number two is that they both reject each other, which would still mean that they're not incels because there's rejection involved. I mean, they chose to reject. And three, one rejects another, at which point only one person is an incel at that point, and that is the one that got rejected, not the one that's doing the rejection. Therefore, you're rejecting incels. So you do not fit that definition. It's just that the guys, the incels, are so, what's the word I'm looking for? Invisible to you, that you don't even recall you doing it. You don't even recall the incels that you reject, making you a not incel. Or you really just don't recall the guys that you reject. All right. Around the same time that Amanda was getting involved in the Femcel community. All right, if there's a Femcel community, there's a guy who's in there from Florida. There's a guy who's in there trying to fuck all of them. If there's a community of empty vaginas, there's a penis out there for that. There's a dick for that. Mass media attention was focused on its far better known male counterparts. That's because they're actual incels. Anyway, the lonely and angry young men of the internet became a subject of fascination because their language was disgusting, and their threats of violence against women were real. Oh, what threats? I mean, yeah, there's the one example with Elliot Rogers, but did you want to fuck him? Anyway, who killed 6 people and himself in, Isla Vista? Can't pronounce that. Okay. All right, let's see. In 2014, Ann left behind a YouTube video in which he outlined his plans to punish women for rejecting him. Coverage also eliminated the broader manosphere. Okay, so this is definitely a pink pill watching manosphere hating black ugly chick. And this is really the crux of who follows the pink pill. All right, let's see. The sprawling online network of disaffected young men that overlap with the so-called alt-right and with President Trump's. What does it have to do with President Trump? Rabid army of MAGA trolls. So it's funny how she's painting the incels and the manosphere people in the worst light possible. She's painting male incels in the worst light possible, and the female incels, however, are victims of societal circumstances. Just saying. In a 2018 report, the intersection of misogyny and white supremacy. Yes, it is possible for a person to be both misogynist and white supremacists. The Anti-Defamation League outlined how incels' sense of entitlement to sex. Oh my God. Oh my God. You have a sense of entitlement to pretty privilege. Amanda has a sense of entitlement to pretty privilege. Entitlement to sex was leading them towards other extremist space and beliefs. This was crazy and dizzyingly complicated story. Let's see. And Femcels, whose range was quieter and whose presence was smaller, didn't really factor in. Can y'all hear me now? What about now? Can y'all hear me? Okay. All right. So this part is interesting. It says when Amanda talks about the femcel community, she specifically contrasts it with one other option, contemporary liberal feminism, or maybe girl boss feminism, as popularized by millennials and the brand that caters to them. Okay. So basically, yeah, I agree. I agree that a lot of feminists are ugly, convincing more attractive women to, or attempting to convince more attractive women to engage in a lifestyle that makes them less attractive. I do agree with that. Let's see. Notion of like supporting all women, feeling positive at all times is disingenuous. This is interesting. I didn't read this part before. The liberal feminist notion of like supporting all women, feeling positive at all times is disingenuous. It's disingenuous, she told me. When she started identifying with the term femcel, it was partly because she felt a resentment towards the style of feminism that changed traditional beauty standards, mostly by asking those who fell short of them to feel beautiful anyway. So here we have an ugly girl who's against women telling ugly women to feel beautiful anyway. Newfound respect for this chick. Because I agree, if you ugly, you should feel ugly. You should feel that way. Don't be one of these. Don't be ugly and confused. In fact, don't be ugly and stupid. Regardless of their lived experience, I'd rather be able to talk about being ugly than just trying to convince myself that I'm pretty, she said. Okay. Fair enough. I actually like this one. Let's see. Okay. In a 2021 essay, the feminist theorist Jill Boyce Kay argued that it's not just incels who assume that any woman can get sex from men. It's not an assumption. Like, unless there is like a disease or deformity going on, you can get it. You just can't get it from the man that you want. And since you don't consider men that you don't want as men, you feel that you're an incel in that regard. Let's see. This is a widespread cultural assumption, not an assumption. Women have long been understood to hold sexual capital. That is not an assumption. That is not an assumption. In modern dating culture, they're expected to wield it. No one expects you to wield it, but we want you to admit that you have it and stop lying to us. Femcels complicate that story. That's because it's a lie. Lies complicate most any stories. That's why when kids lie, or when you lie to a kid, they say you're telling a story because it's a lie. They feel the same sense of humiliation and exclusion that incels do. Then why don't you go fucking incel? But they react to those feelings differently. Incel discourses tend to project anger outward onto society in a hatred of women. Oh my God. Hold on. Because didn't you display a hatred of men? Calling them misogynistic, guys don't treat ugly girls like people. Yeah, a lot of this is projecting your hatred of men. Let's see. Image space. You called them, what was it? Superficial. Okay, let's see. I'm still on the realize this is how many. Hold on one moment. Hit the like button while I'm doing this. I lost my place. Let's see. Oh, and called it Luxus. Okay, let's see. They feel the same sense of humiliation as the incels do. Incels hatred of women. Kay told me when we spoke recently that anger is expressed radically and through threats of violence. Okay, so an incident in 2014, nearly 10 years ago, is a community that threatens violence regularly. Okay, there probably has been more Amish murders in that time period than that. So let's not kid ourselves. All right, let's see. Calls for a government to redistribute. Wait a minute, what? That anger is expressed radically and through threats of violence or through bizarre, let's see, calls for the government to redistribute sex. Who's calling for the government to redistribute sex? First of all, I didn't know that the government distributes sex. Yet alone they would redistribute it. I would hate to think about if the government was to distribute pussy. I would hate to think of the quality that comes out of government distributed pussy. Have you ever had government distributed anything? Like government distributed cheese is the worst cheese that exists. Government distributed food is the worst food that exists. If the government started distributing pussy, I'm pretty sure it'd be pretty fucking bad. Just saying. Let's see. In females discourse, it does tend to be more turned inward on the self. Okay. It's not really, from what you're saying, it doesn't really talk about improvement or anything. Let's see. Though society is discussed and inherently looks and unfair, femcels are not out to change it. Yes, you are. Because they don't see it as changeable. But you do see it as a focus of blame. Let's see. All right. Subreddit was created a space for femcels to discuss looks maxing or improve their physical appearance with a combination of soft makeup and hard plastic surgery. Well, there you go. Approaches. This has caused a problem. Reminder to femcels, people who lie to tell you that they look fine. What the hell? If your looks are a problem, then you solve that problem through the means that was suggested. The benefit from you remaining ugly and not fixing your looks because it makes them more attractive relative to you. Wait, what? The benefit from you remaining ugly and not fixing your looks because it makes them more attractive relative to you. Okay, here's what I'm assuming that she's saying here. She's basically taken a stance on ugly. Ugly has become a part of her identity. Kind of like if there was an anti-midget pill out there. But if you take that, you are a traitor to your community. Or if there was an anti-blindness, cure for blindness, shout out to Deadpool, cure for blindness type thing, or cure for deafness. Like if you were to take any of these pills, you would be, kind of like you're doing a Sammy Sosa or you're doing a Michael Jackson. And if you're ugly and you were to improve upon your looks, then, and a lot of women feel this way. That's why so many fat bitches in our community, that if you were to move away from this, you are turning your back on your previous identity. Damn, this is long. I didn't read the whole thing. Let's see. Let's see. In abandoning heterosexuality, they work to find joy and intimacy in other ways or focusing. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, let's see. Let me get some context on this. So let me read up. Let me see. A silly or maybe even annoying is that, as that may be, using the word femcel more lightly could hold some promise. Its literal use has been nearly tapped out, and let's see, at the personal level, true femcels see two main options for themselves. They either give up on love and society. Now, notice how they say give up on love, not sex. They know that sex is an option. Love isn't, because they're too damn ugly. But they do understand that sex is an option, making them not the female incels that she defines. Vowing to lie here and rot or to devote themselves to ascending through rigorous self-improvement. There you go. And sometimes dangerous body modifications. Don't care. Broadly speaking, they're finding a way to extremes, but not towards anything revolutionary. A smaller number have recognized a more politically hopeful third option, Kay told me, which is to give up on men. I'm pausing because of how stupid that is. So their complaints is that men have given up on them. And their response to that complaint is to give up on men. Men don't want to fuck me, therefore I am going to give up on men. No, dear. What you're doing is you're trying to convince the women that men do want to fuck to give up on men. Hoping that those men that they have given up on feel the sting, become incels themselves, and find their way into your pussy. Okay, let's see. Third option, Kay told me, is to give up on men, but not on the world. In abandoning heterosexuality. How do you abandon heterosexuality? They work on finding joy and intimacy in other ways, or focusing on the areas of life which are not to do with romance and sex. All right, let's see. So basically, it does seem as though there are people here who are part of the community that are influencing femcels. Oh, and that's another thing. If they can't have sex with each other, then they're how femcel are they? All right, let's see. We're supposed to bring water in. All right, blah blah blah. Here's something interesting. Does anyone have the right to sex? How to dwell? No. No, sex is a privilege, but I mean, women have the option to do it more so than men. I mean, let's not ignore that. Let's see. Is obligated to desire anyone else. No one has the right to be desired. Okay, this is fair. This is true. Amanda no longer thinks of herself as a femcel. What, did she find some dick? And she looks back on the time when she did as an experience. Her era of femceldom, she called it. Today, she's sympathetic towards young women who have adopted the word. Okay, so as I said, she went through those awkward years where guys are more selective and they tend to be more liberal because you're dealing with a wider range and a wider age range of men. She's sympathetic towards young women, so she's older now, and she got hit on by a variety of penises, who aren't really bound by college rules and high school rules. Let's see. Even if someone insincerely or inaccurately on the internet, young women see more images of beautiful people every day than they have at any time in history. That is true. That is true. She pointed out a TikTok feed is basically the popular girl in high school times 10 million. I don't have TikTok, but I'm pretty sure that any form of media that people have control over themselves is going to turn into that eventually. Because people like pretty women, they are going to get the most clicks, they're going to get the most views, and then that's going to drive the algorithms, and they're going to get more as a result of that. So yeah, and then average girls start looking less average. This is why it's important to me not to live online. All right. Hold on right quick. All right, says GC, you and old man going to debate on Teapot rumor mill? No. I mean, I'm not against it, but Brother X haven't reached out to me, so at this point, it's a no. I don't really know what the topic would be, but yeah. But yeah, Brother X, I'm open to it. Let's see. It's easy to feel like an outsider, and it's also easy to feel like you've been lied to. If traditional beauty standards not matter, then why are they still celebrated at all times? Yeah. Listen, traditional things are better for the ugly bitch now than they have been since the beginning. Since all right, like Eve had a bunch of daughters. Since the ugliest of Eve's daughter, the one that didn't marry Cain and Abel, you know, things were hard for ugly bitches. The further you go back in history, men had more selection, they had more control, and they were more selective. We live in a hookup culture now. Any chick, and once again, barring disease and deformity, can get laid. And even those who have diseases and deformity can get laid by men with the same disease or deformity. There is a one titty bitch out there right now sucking a dick, while a man grabs on that one titty. There's a 19-year-old with dentures that can get laid. So anyway, that's my thought. Now, in closing, because I wanted to keep this around an hour, in closing, I wanted to say, listen, that is the pink pill audience. All these divestors, these swirlers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Some of them put like a pretty avatar, and we talked about avatars and stuff like that. Some of them put a pretty avatar and they get together and they talk shit about black men indirectly on the pink pill. But you know what they're doing. They're basically trying to convince women to stay away from black men and to offer them an alternative, because at one point in their life, which is a pretty significant point, but at one point in their life, they felt ugly. And they want to lash out at black men. And later in life, and keep in mind that this is christelyn karazin's story. I think that Obsidian says that she's attractive now, and she had a bunch of surgery, so she should be attractive now. But I'm pretty sure that she was not first choice in high school or in college. I doubt that she was prime pickings. She seemed more like the go-between chick, the kind of chick that you do until there's better doings to do. She seemed more that than an actual top pick. Now, that being said, when she entered the general population, things changed for her drastically, which is why she was able to get married even with a child and even with looking reasonably the same or worse. So it's nothing really, there isn't a there, and there most certainly isn't a race issue. You just went through that ugly girl phase that many average girls go through in high school and college. All right. So what's next? But yeah, so that's my thoughts on that. Oh, and that's what I want to do next. All right, let me read this offline Cash App, and then I am out. All right. This is either offline or from my last show. I'll click WhatsApp by mistake. Hold on 1 second. This one's from Jay. This one's from Too Cool from School. It says from your boy Too Cool for School. So appreciate you. I seen you in there. So I appreciate you. Shout yourself out. All right. Well, with that, I'd like to thank the Cash Apps and Super Chats, managers and moderators, those who are listening silently, and those who participate in the chat. Make sure you hit that like button on your way out. This is GameChanger 00100. Game over. Peace.